Okay, so we're recording now. Okay, everybody, so we're going into our last week of the challenge. I asked everybody what day they wanted, and the vote was for Saturday morning, but all I have here with me today are the people that I think are the most awesome, my two sisters, Valerie and Suzanne. So yay for that. But anyway, I just wanted to do this on Saturday morning, and I'm going to email it out this morning too, because I wanted to talk about stuff to kind of, like we did last week, help you guys through the weekend and help you through your very last week of the challenge and things going forward, because I love the challenges so much because they really get people motivated to make those changes that otherwise we just kind of think about and say, yeah, I really need to exercise, or I really need to eat better, or I really need to change this and that, but sometimes we don't do it unless we have a really good reason to. So I love that the challenges give us that really good reason to. They give us some prize money to help motivate us to keep going and that, but what happens when we end? So a lot of people have a really hard time when we end, because then they all of a sudden will say, oh, well, yeah, I'm not in the challenge anymore. Woohoo, I can go and eat whatever I want. Or, they're just kind of, some people either stop trying as hard or they go completely the opposite because they feel like, oh, I haven't had a treat in so long, and then they just go crazy and kind of undo all the good that they did. So a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. So this is, again, from this Discover Your Optimal Health book that Dr. A wrote. And if anybody wants one of these, you can buy them on our website. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them at a bookstore. You can get them on Kindle, like an ebook for I think it's like $9 or something. Anyway, so they're super cheap and they're a really quick read. They're just a short little paperback or whatever. So mine is all marked up because I reread it. It has lots of good things in it. But this today, what I wanted to do is kind of go through a couple things. This is the very end of the book, and it says, this chapter basically, or the epilogue, is entitled Taking Back Your Life. So I think this kind of goes, so there's just a couple of things that he talked about. So he talked about organizing our life around what matters most to you. So I want you guys to think about that as we're talking. Think about the things that matter the most to you. You can write them on a piece of paper. In the book, it gives you a little section where you can actually write them down if you want to do that, or you can just take a piece of paper right now and write down the things that are most important to you in your life. So they can be, and it doesn't matter what it is. So whatever it is that's important to you. So like some of mine, I put my family, my church service, my health, having enough money to take care of my family, different things like that. So those are some things that were on my list of things that were important to me, but everybody has different things, and you don't have to limit them. You can have 3 things, or you can have 10 things, or you can have 20, whatever's important to you, that's okay. So you're going to go through and write down those things. And then he talks a little bit about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So things, and then he said to go back and write on those. So things that are extrinsic aspirations would be things that are material things, like, is it important to you to have a nice car, a nice house, a boat, things like material things that you might want to accomplish or strive for, positions in work, different things like that. So write an E on your list next to each of those things that would be extrinsic motivation. And those things are all great, whether it's an outfit, clothes, whatever, things that you are working towards. And then intrinsic would be aspirations, things that are inside, things we want to do, like accomplishments we want to have, sharing love, compassion, friendship, involvement, things that give you fulfillment from the inside. And then write an I next to each one of those. So then he said, look at your list and see whether most of yours were intrinsic or extrinsic motivations. So, because those things are gonna motivate you in different ways, and we'll talk about that a little more. So, so the next question, and he said, is talking about whether you're fulfilled in your life and whether you feel happy in your life. And I thought this was really interesting. He said, if you are currently fulfilled, happy, involved, and satisfied with your life, and then he said, are you? And then he said, there are generally 6 categories of psychological needs that humans strive to fulfill. So I wanted to talk about these. So the first one would be following your own path and being able to do what you want to do with your life. Accomplishing those, because most humans don't like to be told what to do. We like to be able to do our own thing and do what makes us feel happy. The second one would be doing something that matters to you and helping you grow as a person, having accomplishments, things like that. The third one is the desire to feel relevant or leave a legacy or, leave your mark on the world, so to speak. And, like being a good parent or having, all of those things that would come with that. So, and these are all the intrinsic motivators right here. And so those, it says that if those are fulfilled, they are sufficient because they create a sense of well-being in your life. When you're in that state, your stress levels are much lower and the hassles of your everyday life have less impact. So those are the things that are going to really change how you're feeling inside and how you're able to deal with all of the other things, whether it's, decisions that you make about what you're eating or how your career is different, things like that. So the next three things were the extrinsic, psychological needs. The first one is wealth, having the ability to have enough money to buy whatever you want, which is, would always be nice, right? The second one is fame, having people know you or being sought after. And the third is to be attractive to people or having other people be attracted to you. So, and those are all our extrinsic needs and stuff, but usually it says that people who get those things, they always want more of those. So those things are great. It's great to strive for having money to take care of your family or having, things that matter or being attractive, be how we want when we reach our goal weight. Yes, as we all don't have our hair done today. That's okay. But those are all things that once you get them, people seem to want more of. So those are things that you're never going to feel like you're in a really good place, even if you have those, right? So Dr. A said the next thing to do is look at a couple of things. You may want to look at your job and say, he asks 3 questions in the book, and he said, are you satisfied with your current position? And if you're not, are you in control of it? Are you in control of changing it? And this can be something that adds stress to your life. Maybe it could be better communication. And then it said, look at your family life. How would you rate your relationship with your family? But you get to spend enough time with your family, or are you being pulled away by too many other things? If you have kids, are you able to go to their events? Are you able to create memories and do fun things for them? Or are you just scraping, just getting through your day and never being able to enjoy things and do things that are fun? So, and I thought this was interesting. He said about family, he said, everyone loves family members and they love us. But because we're obligated to be around them, which is funny because it's all just my sisters on here, so we're obligated to be around them, we generally take them for granted. Our dialogues, conversations, and time together seem to be the first that are put on hold when we're stressed or pressed for time. Often our relational skills are at their lowest level, especially when we're stressed or under a crisis. Yet these are the very people that mean most to us and will remember and pass on our legacy. So I think we've all been there where we, if we have things to do, we're not going to tell so-and-so at the PTA or our boss at work or our friends who want to do something. We're not going to yell at them and tell them, I don't have time to do this. But will we tell our spouse or our children or family members that we do? And so we're really taking a look at that and how we are interacting with those people in our lives. So and then he just goes through in the book, things that you can do to, like maybe cutting back on extra projects at work, scheduling date nights with your spouse and with your kids, making sure that you're taking time for those big events on the calendar to be present for your family. He said, I liked this one. When your kids come home from school, take 4 minutes and just listen to them. Be completely present, not on your phone, not doing something else, not cleaning your house, not talking, and he said, really, after all they really want is about 10 minutes and then they'll be bored with you and want to go do something else anyway. So I thought that's really so true.
Minutes.
But when you have that and you want to, when they have that attention, it makes a difference. So it said even taking up hobbies you can do as a family, exercising as a family, telling jokes, playing games, all the things that you can do, going out, enjoying the arts, enjoying nature, spending time, doing the things that will really make a difference. And it doesn't have to be huge things and stuff. But so I thought that was a really interesting way to put this in. So some of you might be thinking, what does this really have to do with the challenge or with my health? But that this is the underlying structure of how we make change in our life. So if you can change the things that are causing stress in your life and causing you to be unhappy, causing you to not have time or whatever it is, then you can get some of those things more in balance. And when the other parts of your life are more in balance, you're not going to be so stressed, and you're not going to be stress eating if you're not stressed, right? You're not going to be grabbing.
That's why I'm eating lower.
Yeah.
I have not had breakfast.
And breakfast is important. That's okay. But you're not going to be grabbing fast food as often if you're not frantically running from one place to another. So looking at those things and saying, one thing that was powerful to me is saying, don't volunteer for more things unless you can do it together as a family. And that was really powerful, because that's one thing that gets me all the time is, oh yeah, I never can say no to anybody. I'll take on 1,000 things, and then I'm like, now I'm not doing a good job at any of these. Yep. So, it's really taking a look at your life and saying, being able to say no to some things, and that's okay, because saying no to some things gives you more time, even if they're good things, gives you more time to focus on the better things or the best things that are in your life. So, so I would challenge all of you guys to do this exercise and find those things that really matter most, and then try to get those in line. And when you do, then you have more time to be able to, to focus on that, and focusing as a family on your habits of health too. And that kind of focusing on habits of health is one thing going forward, that if you are always focusing on, okay, I need to remember to drink my water, and then, that can become a habit. I'm going to remember to eat small meals throughout the day. I'm going to make good choices and protein and carb balance and all of the things that we've talked about during the challenge. If you can keep those things going and just know that even though the challenge is going to end, our journey to being healthy never ends. Dr. A, I was on a Zoom with him one time, and he said, we all get to make a choice every day, whether we've lost all the weight we want to lose, or we're still in the process of losing weight, or whether we've never even had a weight problem. We just need to be more healthy. Wherever we're at in our journey, we all get to make that choice to be healthy or not healthy every day. So, and today is really the only day that matters. And so that's something I've been trying to focus on a lot lately, is not focusing on, oh my gosh, yesterday I did so bad or whatever, and beating myself up over it, because yesterday's done. It's gone. We don't need to think about it anymore. We can, besides to learn from it and say, okay, maybe what triggered us to do that? Maybe we can work on those and, work on our stress and things. And we can't worry, say, oh yeah, well, at the end of the challenge, or, next, in a couple months when I'm at my goal weight, we don't need to worry about that right now either, because if we don't do the things that we're supposed to do today, we're not going to get to our goal weight or where we want to be or how we're going to feel in a couple months down the road anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So, and when we get there, if we don't keep making those choices, then we're not going to stay there. So really, if you focus on one day at a time and focus on those things, say, okay, yeah, today, this is what my day looks like. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure this is how I'm going to get all my water in. This is how I'm going to get, my small meals in. This is how I'm going to pay attention to my family. This is how I'm going to do this. And if you kind of focus on today and make a plan for it, then you're going to have the likelihood of being successful is going to go way up. So that's going to make a big difference. So anyway, so next week, the way out starts. The way out's going to start next week. So I believe it goes. What was it? Did we find out? It was like the 13th through the 17th. Anyway, they usually give you like a 5-day window to be able to do that. So you can weigh out on any of those days that you want. So if you're going to be out of town, if you're traveling, anything like that, then make sure that you do it before you do your way out before you go. Or if you're going to be back before the end, make sure that you get that done when you get back. So, okay. I feel like everybody's doing really well. Most of the people that I talked to were getting close to their goals. If you're not, make sure you call me, text me, email me, whatever. We can talk about things to help you get closer to your goal. Make a few little tweaks, things like that, so we can get you where you want to be. And then more importantly, to find the things that can help you go forward from this and stay on the path towards optimal health instead of sliding back into those things and getting stressed and not really caring, and then you end up right back where you were before, and that's probably not where any of us want to be. So All right. So Valerie and Suzanne, did you guys have anything to add to that? I know that was a lot of me talking.
No, it was just me eating breakfast.
Remember to eat your breakfast, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did. Yep.
No, I like how you talked about it, like how the challenge is ending, so don't let yourself slide back into other things, because I did this challenge last time, and I did notice when I got done, each day I wasn't quite as focused on making sure I got in all my water or things like that. So I'm like, well, it's not like I'm getting points for it, so if I don't get it, oh well, I'm not going to guzzle it at the end of the day, and I didn't want to guzzle it at the end of the day, but if I'd been focusing like I was during the challenge, I don't guzzle it at the end of the day, because I would have been drinking it all day long like I'm supposed to. So forget those habits and let them slide just because you're not getting points for them.
Yeah. And sometimes, maybe even set up a point system for yourself. Like, hey, if I do this, if I keep doing this and doing all of my habits of health for, so long or whatever, set an actual goal of habits for yourself. Because, well, I read an email the other day, and they were saying, like, people they talked about how long it takes to form a habit. And they usually quote people saying it takes at least 21 days to form a habit. But then when they did research and they looked into it, that guy said, well, habits can form in 21 days, but it can take anywhere from 28 to 300 days to form a habit. So everybody has different things. So if you focus more on rewarding yourself for the habits that you're forming, like, hey, if I drink all of my water every day for a month, then I'm going to go and get a massage. Or if I make sure I exercise every day, or if I make sure I, whatever it is that you want to keep focusing on, but give yourself a non-food reward when you get to the end of that, for however, if you want to focus on a week at a time or a month at a time or whatever it is that, if that helps, give yourself a reward that you can do. Maybe it's not in a challenge or whatever, but sometimes that can help people to do that, because everybody, I guarantee, does exactly what Suzanne said. When you don't have that push, it's really easy to say to yourself, oh, it doesn't really matter. I did drink water today. It wasn't all the water that I needed. Or what my downfall, the thing that I would always do and still sometimes do if I don't follow, if I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to be really good and I'm not going to eat any junk food or anything like that. And then all of a sudden you go somewhere, or my son's like, hey, Mom, I want to have ice cream. Can we go out and get ice cream or whatever? And then I'm like, well, they didn't know that I wasn't going to eat that today, so it's okay. I'll just do it today, and then tomorrow I won't eat any junk food. And then tomorrow, what happens? Same thing. Somebody will say something. So I found also that telling my family and stuff, like, my husband's never going to be like, Heather, you should not eat that, because he's too nice and he would never say anything like that to me. But my 8-year-old totally will. So Peyton will, if I'm like, Peyton, I am not supposed to eat this. Do not let Mommy eat any of this or whatever. Like, hide the candy or whatever it is. Don't let me have any. If I go to eat something, he'll be like, Mom, you were not supposed to do that. And he will totally call me out. So he's my policeman he's my food police. And when I feel like I'm going through times when I need the food police, I make sure my food policeman knows.
Way to build yourself a support network.
There you go.
And it really is, but I find it better, like, if my husband and my kids know what I'm doing or want to accomplish, or I'm trying to get them to accomplish it, then my husband is less likely to buy things that he knows tempt me at the grocery store if he stops there. Or my son is less likely to ask me to go out and get ice cream if he knows that I'm not going to eat that, So then you kind of take some of those temptations out of your way in the beginning, because they know, oh, hey, Mom doesn't want to do this, or, she's working hard on this or whatever. So they'll be more supportive, and it also helps them, because the less we all go out for ice cream, the better it is for everybody. So, so sometimes, if you can be like, instead of going out for ice cream being your activity, let's go play a game. I'm like, that gets your family time together and doesn't add any extra calories or sugar or fat grams to anybody's diet. So
Playtime, you build your support network. Like, birds with one stone.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Killing two birds with one stone and building your support network. That's why you invite your sisters to do the challenge with you.
Right.
You know, and exactly. I'm like, hey, I invited everybody in my family to do the challenge because the more people that you have that are focusing on that, then if you have your family and your friends and everybody's doing it together. My husband has a lot of my clients actually work with my husband, and so it kind of is nice for them because when they're at work, we started building them a support network at work. And they're funny. They're like, I don't want to eat this because then they said, then Cole will go home and tell Heather what we did, which he never would do, but it helps them stay on track. So hey, it works. So yeah, so they think that he's my spy at work.
Tattle on them.
Yeah. And it's funny, I was like, he would never do that, but if that helps you to think that, then you go ahead and think that.
Then go for it.
So they're on our team, so when they watch this playback, they're gonna laugh about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now they know that Cole's not actually spying on them.
I know, he might be. Yeah, so he might be spying on you guys.
He is. I know it.
He totally is. Yes. Yes. Just like just like we all totally, you know, we'll spy on each other and be like, yeah, Suzanne, do you know what Valerie said?
What?
She's like, and Suzanne's like, well, I know that Heather ate candy or she ate cheesecake at my house. So totally what we do.
Yes.
So, but the more that you have that, then your family's going to have better choices, like healthier choices when you have get-togethers because they, you know, will all want to support the same thing. Your friends, it's going to be the same thing. So you just start to build like it. Remember the little demonstration my friend Tiari did with her little Power Ranger in the thing and the food color drops there, and she pulled it out, and you have your bubble of health or whatever. The more that you tell people what you're doing and involve them, the better it is. So, all right. Well, it looks like we only have a couple of minutes left. So, is there any other questions you guys had? Or comments or anything that you wanted to talk about?
No.
All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording now and I'm going to post this online. So everybody keep getting all of your points, keep working towards your goal, and we're going to finish this strong.
Okay, sounds
All right,
good.
have a good weekend.
Yeah.